Buckle up, Buttercup. Do I have news for you? China's artificial sun breakthrough. China's revolutionary tokamak reactor, dubbed the artificial sun, is inching closer to achieving nuclear fusion. This breakthrough promises limitless clean energy, offering a future where power is both sustainable and abundant. Imagine a world no longer reliant on fossil fuels, with fusion energy providing the key to solving the global energy crisis. Also, El Nino and the greatest mass extinction. A new study reveals that the conditions created by El Nino could be reminiscent of Earth's greatest mass extinction event. Also, a rogue star nearly destroyed our solar system. And an unbelievable cosmic event, a rogue star recently zoomed past our solar system, distorting planetary orbits and stretching the outer edges. Just imagine how close we came to an astronomical catastrophe. BRICS is going to launch a new global payment system. BRICS has confirmed 159 participants will adopt a new global payment system aiming to reduce reliance on the US dollar. This is a monumental step towards reshaping the world's financial systems. If you're a gold fan, I know I am, gold price is set to soar to $4,800, according to financial experts, forecasting gold to hit a record high of $4,800 as global investors flock to precious metals amid growing economic instability. With markets facing unprecedented challenges, the future of finance could very well be paved in gold. So let's get into this. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. If you haven't called Noble Gold Investments yet, I don't know what the heck you're waiting for. So many opportunities. Look at what the big banks are doing, the money funders. With this much turmoil around the world, it might be a good idea to secure your financial freedom with gold and silver. Noble Gold Investments. Give them a call. 1-877-646-5347. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Tons of five-star reviews. I've been with Noble Gold now for about 6 years. Also, if you convert your 401 or IRA into precious metals, they will gift you a solid silver 10-ounce American flag bar, or you could pick 10 Trump rounds, totally 10 ounces, your choice. There's obviously never any guarantees, so you want to look at what the big banks and the money funders are doing. Do yourselves a favor, call Noble Gold Investments, 1-877-646-5347. Okay, let's get into the latest news, Shelley. This is an unsettling article from Fortune.com. China refuses to sign agreement to ban AI from controlling nuclear weapons. Officials at the Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit in Seoul, which involved nearly 100 countries, including the United States, China, and Ukraine, adopted the blueprint for action after 2 days of talks. The agreement, which is not legally binding and was not signed by China, said it was essential to maintain human control and involvement for all actions concerning nuclear weapons employment. It added that AI capabilities in the military domain must be applied in accordance with applicable national and international law. AI applications should be ethical and human-centric. The Chinese embassy in Seoul did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Militarily, AI is already used for reconnaissance, surveillance, as well as analysis, and in the future could be used to pick targets autonomously. Ooh, that's not scary. Russia was not invited to the summit due to its invasion of Ukraine. The declaration did not outline what sanctions or other punishment would ensue in case of violations. The declaration acknowledged there was a long way to go for states to keep pace with the development of AI in the military domain, noting they need to engage in further discussions for clear policies and procedures. You can read about it at Fortune.com or Yahoo Finance. ABC News, Russia begins massive naval drills together with China. The Russian military has launched massive naval and air drills spanning across both hemispheres and including China in joint maneuvers. The Ocean 24 exercise spans the Pacific and Arctic Oceans, the Mediterranean, Caspian, and Baltic Seas, involving over 400 warships, submarines, and support vessels, more than 120 planes and helicopters, over 90,000 troops. The Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement the maneuvers will continue through September 16th. The ministry said. Vladimir Putin, Russian president, said in comments to military officials that the war games are the largest of their kind in 3 decades and that China warships and planes were taking part. China confirms that on Monday, saying the two countries' navies would cruise together in Pacific, but gave no details. A total of 15 countries have been invited to observe the drills, Putin said, without naming them. We pay special attention to strengthening military cooperation with friendly states today in the context of growing geopolitical tensions in the world. This is especially important, Putin said. Under the pretext of countering the allegedly existing Russian threat and containing the People's Republic of China, the United States and its satellites are increasing their military presence near Russia's western borders in the Arctic and in the Asia-Pacific region, Putin said, stressing that Russia must be prepared for any development of the situation. Wow. From Watcher.guru, BRICS confirms 159 participants will adopt new payment system after recent rumblings surfaced of how many nations would embrace the impending BRICS pay system. The bloc has confirmed 159 participants are set to adopt the new payment system. Indeed, the economic alliance system is poised to hit the ground running when it finally launches. All eyes are on when that launch will take place. Many have surmised that it would be announced at the highly anticipated 2024 summit. Moreover, it would be set to go live in what would be a groundbreaking unveiling. If that were to happen, the bloc has already noted there is a long line of entities ready to embrace it. I don't know how you feel about that, but that will definitely have effect on the hegemony of the US dollar. And I wonder if anything will happen before that to prevent it. Next article I wanted to share with you is from Kitco News. Precious metals brace for breakouts with gold, silver, and platinum on the move. Precious metals are on the move on Thursday afternoon, with gold rallying on central bank dovishness, while silver nears the $30 level and platinum tests key resistance at 980. According to analyst Vladimir Zernov at FX Empire, gold tested historic highs after ECB cut the interest rate from 4.25 to 3.65%. Zernov wrote, analysts also expect that Fed will start the new rate cut cycle next week, which is bullish for gold and other precious metals. And then this one's even more bullish, right on track for gold price to hit $4,800. Incrementum's Ronald Peter Stoffel. To read about this, Kitco News. All right, now let's get into the China artificial sun. Not 12 million degrees, it's 120 million degrees, and the world's on edge. You can read about this at Eco News. China has its first artificial sun, 120 million degrees, and the world's on edge. The sun is shining in China, but probably not the way you would expect. Scientists are working on the Huanliu 3 tokamak nuclear fusion device in Flyby, China. They had a breakthrough that could change the future of clean energy. The HL3 tokamak is like an artificial sun. It uses plasma heated up to 120 million degrees to create nuclear fusion, producing the same amount of energy as a star. Researchers from around the world have been trying to accomplish this type of nuclear fusion for decades. Wow, magnets might have just saved the world by helping contain super hot plasma. With the right magnetic field, the plasma inside of the reactor would stay stable long enough for scientists to harness the power of nuclear fusion. Because nuclear fusion releases so much energy, it would easily generate enough turbine electricity for millions of people, but with a non-ecological focus, as you know. China is leading the world in nuclear fusion, but they rely on international cooperation to do it. Wow, that's pretty cool, especially if it's used for the right purposes. But like everything, could it be turned around and flipped around for nefarious purposes? Anyway, let's get to the next article. New research reveals how El Nino caused the greatest ever mass extinction, phys.org. Mega ocean warming El Nino events were key in driving the largest extinction of life on planet Earth about 252 million years ago, give or take a few years. This according to new research published in Science and co-led by the University of Bristol and China University of Geosciences, Wuhan, has shed new light on why the effects of rapid climate change in the Permian Triassic warming were so devastating for all forms of life in the sea and on land. Scientists have long linked this mass extinction to vast volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia. The resulting carbon dioxide emissions rapidly accelerated climate warming, resulting in widespread stagnation and the collapse of marine and terrestrial ecosystems. However, what caused this destruction of life on land, including plants and usually resilient insects, to suffer just as badly, has remained a source of mystery. Co-lead author Dr. Alexander Farnsworth, senior research associate at the University of Bristol, said climate warming alone cannot drive such devastating extinctions because, as we are seeing today, when the tropics become too hot, species migrate to the cooler, higher latitudes. Our research has revealed that increased greenhouse gases don't just make the majority of the planet warmer, they also increase weather and climate variability, making it even more wild and difficult for life to survive. The Permian Triassic catastrophe shows the problem of global warming is not just a matter of it becoming unbearably hot, but also a cause of conditions swinging wildly over decades. Most life fell to adapt to these conditions, but thankfully a few things survived, without which we wouldn't be here today. It was nearly but not quite the end of life on Earth, said co-lead author Professor Yudong Sun at China University of Geosciences, Wuhan. The scale of Permian Triassic warming was revealed by studying oxygen isotopes in the fossilized tooth material of tiny extinct swimming organisms called conodonts. By studying the temperature record of conodonts from around the world, the researchers were able to show a remarkable collapse of temperature gradients in the low and mid latitudes. Wow. Well, do I need to bring in my tomato plants yet? Next article. This is from Earth.com. Rogue star zoomed by our solar system and disrupted planetary orbits. Several thousand celestial bodies are known to move beyond the orbit of Neptune, said Falsner. Surprisingly, many of these so-called trans-Neptunian objects move on eccentric orbits that are inclined relative to the common orbital plane of the planets in the solar system. I was looking at that earlier today, and if you look at the planets, several of them orbit differently. They spin differently, which is really interesting. It's like, because we're all connected to this, I don't know, I'm just like, okay, Uranus is flipped up on its side, and why do the planets behave in such a manner? Falsner, along with her students from Leiden University, may have found the answer. The researchers noted that some force must have lifted these trans-Neptunian objects from the disk where they were formed and altered their orbits. Oh, yeah, like we've been talking about for a long time. But if you talk about it, then anyway, one popular hypothesis is that the planets originally were in a more compact configuration. The TNOs formed between them and were scattered outwards when the planets moved to their current locations, wrote the study authors. Here we build on a completely different hypothesis for the TNO's origin. Blame it on the star flyby. The trio conducted over 3,000 computer simulations to test a captivating theory. What if a rogue star caused these peculiar orbits? They found that a close flyby of another star can indeed explain why these TNOs move the way they do. This hypothetical star could even be responsible for bizarre orbits of specific TNOs like the dwarf planet Sedna, discovered in 2003, and those that have almost perpendicular to the planet orbits, such as 2008 KV42 and 2011 KT19. Wow. That's pretty cool. Let's watch this real quick. Stellar flyby shaping the outer solar system. Okay, well, do you understand that? Does that make sense? The best match for today's outer solar system is a star slightly larger than our sun, about 0.8 solar masses, noted Govind. This star passed our sun at a distance of around 16.5 billion kilometers, about 110 times the distance between Earth and the sun, or just under 4 times the distance to Neptune. And the findings not only shed light on the motion of trans-Neptunian objects, but also open avenues for future astronomical research. Understanding the influence of close stellar flybys may help astronomers refine their models of solar system formation and dynamics. Also, the research prompts the question of whether other stellar encounters have similarly shaped the orbits of celestial bodies within our solar system and beyond. As we continue to explore the mysteries of our outer solar system, we're reminded that our local cosmic landscape is rich and varied. Ripple effects closer to home. In a twist, the team discovered that the star's flyby could explain additional mysteries within our solar system. In their simulation, some transit-Neptunian objects got flung towards the inner solar system right into the domain of the outer gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Some of these objects could have been captured by the giant planets as moons, said Portugais Zwart. This would explain why the outer planets of our solar system have two different types of moons. While regular moons orbit close to planets on circular orbits, irregular moons orbit their planets at a greater distance on inclined, elongated orbits. The research provides the first possible explanation for this intriguing phenomenon. Wow. I wonder if that's Planet 9 that they're talking about in the news, or, it was possibly what some other researchers had talked about in the 50s and 70s, as well as what was brought up in the early 80s, where, it made mainstream news, made front page news. Now we just need to get an astronomer that knows all the lingo, and I can give them a formula and they can say, yep, that's where it is. Or I can talk to them about Planet X and the Nemesis and these different planets. And then we can look at the information provided and see if they connect. Like to see if Planet 9 is anywhere close to where other researchers had predicted Planet X to be in the past. Nibiru is so, that word, that planet has been so misused and abused as far as the way it's presented for so many years that it's tough to take people serious oftentimes when they bring up Nibiru, but I think you should take it serious. Maybe Sitchin got the orbit wrong. Maybe he actually got the whole term wrong. Maybe Nibiru actually means the crossing of planets, not necessarily a planet itself. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he got some of it right. There's so much data in these ancient Sumerian and Babylonian cuneiform tablets that describe astronomical and astrological events and eclipses. Lots of data. Now we just need to make sure that we translate the data properly, and then we can add the science that we have now available to see if we can connect myth and science together, because that's when it gets really cool. So once again, I still think you can leave your tomato plants outside for now. But then here's the other article I wanted to share with you this is really weird. So earlier this year, astronomers revealed one of the James Webb Space Telescope's most spectacular and intriguing discoveries yet. It's a bunch of these red dots in space. And astronomers are saying, no, they're not galaxies. We don't know what they are, but they're not nearly as big as a galaxy. So in one of the most ancient regions of the observable universe, they found hundreds of galaxies or alleged galaxies, and they call them little red dots. But they're not like the Milky Way because they're much smaller. And it goes on to say that these dots are not ordinary galaxies. As Smithsonian Institution astrophysicist Fabio Facucci explains in an essay for The Conversation, these compact red structures, which are only about 2% the size of the Milky Way, puzzle astronomers. The issue is they can't determine what they are because observing them through different mediums each points to them being a different kind of object. Oh man, that sounds like 4D kind of stuff. What if that's some type of like fourth dimensional blip or fourth dimensional wormhole or fourth dimensional vortex or something? That's what that sounds like, because when they're looking at it, it's changing with different technologies. What the heck? I got to read that again. The issue is they can't determine what they are because observing them through different mediums each points to them being a different kind of object. Deepening the mystery, the little red dots were only visible for a period of around 1 billion years, about 600 to 800 million years after the Big Bang, give or take a few years, right? Now they are nowhere to be found, and determining exactly what they are will be crucial to figuring out where they fit into the evolution of our universe. You can read about this futurism. Yowzers. You can read about this on futurism.com. The two leading hypotheses of these little red dots, one proposes that they are incredibly dense galaxies packed with up to 100 billion stars. And that's as many as the Milky Way, although they're just 2% the size of our galaxy, approximately. So put that into perspective. Hakuchi says this would be like packing the population of China into a huge single room. These astrophysical objects may be the densest stellar environments in the entire universe, he wrote. Whether that would be physically possible is unclear. The other hypothesis proposes that the ludicrous density can be explained by a supermassive black hole at the center of the little red dots. Yeah, like 4D mergers, fourth dimensional wormholes or something like that. And there's something weird walking across the rocks outside of my house. What is that? Where did you go, little guy? It's too small to be a squirrel. Maybe he was a lizard. He feels right at home. Could there be a supermassive black hole at the center of these little red dots? Except that observation suggests that these would have to be overmassive or too big for what should be possible based on the scale of the surrounding galaxy, with some being nearly as heavy as them. Now, the most puzzling about these little red dots, according to Bakuchi, they appear like different objects depending on how you examine them. Weird. Then another theory is the sheer density of material surrounding the little red dots, black holes, are blocking its X-ray emissions, or it could be that they are being emitted in a, or it could be that they are being emitted in a different spectrum than what we are used to. Wow. Read about it, thebitefuturism.com. What are those things? IFL Science, the infamous spiders on Mars may have finally been solved. Do we have an explanation? The so-called spiders on Mars, thankfully, they're not giant Martian spiders, according to the article. We have a pretty decent idea of how they form. The leading hypothesis, known as the Kiefer model, like kefir, you ever drank kefir? It's delicious. This has two F's, though. Kiefer model, after the scientist who proposed it, suggests that they are related to the heating and cooling of the planet through the seasons. In this model, sunlight penetrates translucent slab ice in spring, and thermal wavelength radiation gets trapped, heating the regolith beneath the ice and causing the impermeable ice slab to sublimate from its base. A team investigating the phenomena explains in their study. Through this process, spiders are proposed to be eroded by a high-velocity gas scouring the subslab regolith, while fans and variations of spots are strewn on the ice surface deposited by a plume of dust and gas. They look like freaking spiders. They do. They look like a bunch of big-ass spiders on the surface of Mars. And I get, once again, it's swamp gas and dust. Though the Kiefer model has been widely accepted in the decades since the spiders were discovered, the team attempts to recreate the features in the laboratory in the hopes of answering questions about whether the features are still being created today or are a relic of the previous Martian era. Recreating the cold, low-pressure conditions on Mars is not easy, requiring the team to use a liquid nitrogen-cooled test chamber at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, known as the Dirty Under Vacuum Simulation Test Bed for icy environments, Dusty. The team placed soil meant to replicate the soil found on Mars inside Dusty, and then pumped carbon dioxide gas into the chamber to condense and form thick ice, thick enough to perform the experiment. Then the ice was heated from below to simulate the heating mechanism thought to be at play on Mars. After many attempts to get the ice thickness just right, the team achieved success. Lead author Lauren McKeown of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California saw plumes burst out, sending the regolith flying as it did so. It was late on a Friday evening, and the lab manager burst in after hearing me shrieking. McKeown told NASA of the moment her 5-year quest to create such plumes came to an end. She thought there had been an accident. Let's watch this right now. Oh, gee. You're telling me that's the spider that looks like Come on now. I mean, it's good. It's pretty cool. But it doesn't really look like the spiders on Mars to me. This is what the spiders on Mars look like. Maybe. I'm not convinced, but it's a pretty cool theory. Oh, you know what? That's so funny because I remember interviewing somebody several years ago that allegedly went to Mars and then came back, and like they were on Mars for like 20 years or something, and they came back to Earth. And anyway, very skeptical, still am, like very. But one thing that person said, which is funny, because I was like, "What did you see out there? What was it like out there?" And I was asking questions in hopes to get some truth. And one of the things he told me, he said, "Spiders." I'm like, "Oh, you saw spiders out there? You're out there for 20 years, and all you can tell me is you saw spiders." And I'm wondering if he saw that photo and he's like, and he said, "Oh, I saw spiders." I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Quit making stuff up. Hey, look, I'll tell you bold theories, but I'll say, hey, this is a theory. Like if I don't know, I don't know. So, and there's a lot of stuff I don't know. Actually, the more I get close to thinking I know something, it's like something flips it around, right? Like ETs, as an example. I don't know, but I think I know. Anyway, I'm rambling. Pretty intense. A lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? It's still a beautiful day today here in Southern Colorado, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Let's be prepared, not scared. Let's focus on the best, prepare for the worst. Focus some energy, send some positive energy around the world, and those especially that are in the war zones right now. It's really unfortunate because you read through the comments of people that think they know what's going on, and everybody thinks they know what's going on the internet almost. And most people that comment about stuff that's going on haven't been there when it comes to the situation overseas. Not all. But a lot of people that comment have never been there, have never had to deal with something like that. I've got a lot of family and friends in the military. I have a lot of family and friends that have retired from the military. And war is tough on everybody, except for maybe a few that we don't need to get into here. So, spend a minute today just focusing positive energy on the world. Maybe we could even focus a time together to share positive energy with the world and be the change the world needs to see. Because it starts with you. It starts with me. Be the change you want to see. Thank you for watching.